have to stay vigilant. The professor entrusted us with his dream.
No matter how dark it is, we must believe in each other.
We get this done by working together as a team.
Jeez, bub. Keep buzzing in my ear.
Jason.
That's a perfect intro. Welcome to Tangential Giants, a podcast where we talk about pop culture, nostalgia, and anything else we think about until the sweet release of death.
And our shared hatred of Jason.
JPG. Our shared hatred. Is that, I think, let's call him by his real name.
His government name? Got it.
Just Jason.
I don't know who that is. I know.
What would his mutant name be?
Wheels? I don't know. I don't know.
Taquito?
He's not handicapped like
Taquito.
that.
I don't know. It just the first one that always comes to my head now is because of that. Like, what do they call you? Wheels? And like, it's still a good line. Like, how many years later? Like, it's still like, damn it, they still get me.
I'm gonna go with Suits. You just be like the show Suits.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, no, that is apropos.
I do believe at one point JPG was linked to Meghan Markle.
There we go.
I'm sure we can do a 17 degrees of Kevin Bacon somehow.
I bet we could do we can get it within the initial 7, but we could probably do better than that. Like, I think it's viable.
Damn it,
all
Ken!
right.
I'm trying to say he's a nobody.
No,
The further away he is,
enough.
the more Bacons there
further
are,
away
the
he
worse he is.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he knows Kevin Bacon. That's the problem.
God damn it.
We're calling it.
All
We're
right,
done.
sorry to bust. Yeah, sorry to bust over your intro. You want to tell people what we're talking about?
No, that was it. We're here. We're speaking about pop culture till the sweet release of death. That's it, guys.
I mean, eventual, like not at the end of this podcast.
Yeah, not like we died.
It's not that looming. Let's be clear.
This
about
isn't
that.
a Heaven's Gate
That's
situation.
the hope. Like,
We're not,
You can take your sneakers
All
and your jumpsuit off.
Thank you, everybody.
But
Enjoy
I
the rest
already-
of the show.
I already castrated myself. I thought that we were doing this. I don't understand what the problem is.
I told you never pre-castrate. Never pre-castrate.
Never pre-castrate. Damn it! I just try to get ahead. Work smarter, not harder.
Fair enough. It's about to become the tagline of this episode.
No, the tagline of this
Smarter,
episode
not
is "Work
harder,
harder,
or
not
never
smarter." The
pre-castrate.
opposite.
There you go.
And actually, the current tagline is "The Ballad of Charles and Eric."
It's good.
Because
It's good.
they're
Song.
in a relationship.
I
Now
don't
my
know,
brain's
man.
just
I feel
going like,
that's the way this show is working. It's gonna be the cuckold season.
Cuck
Now they've
extravaganza.
introduced it. Now that they somehow cucked Gambit, it's the cuckold season for everybody.
I mean, somehow.
We'll get into it.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about
Previously
guest.
on Tangential
X-Men.
Giants. Sorry. Go ahead.
Perfect. We'll be talking about mutants. That ragtag
Mutants.
bunch from the 90s are back, and I, for one, am super excited. I can't speak for the other two guys on the podcast, but I've been
Fucking angry
waiting for this
about
for
it.
a long time. What's up?
Angry about it. Very upset. Very upset about the whole thing. Yeah. No, please
Well,
continue.
we're gonna get
Very
Pat's
exciting.
perspective.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Pat-
I'm super excited about it.
Pat's been very
Yeah.
upset that the X-Men went woke. He's like, why are they making it woke all of a sudden? Why is it coming out completely out of left field that they're making these X-Men woke?
And I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it right now. I can't handle it more.
Well, we're gonna chime in with Pat and his resident white fury whenever we get to move on to the next subject.
So
But
angry.
for us non-whites, I guess we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. That's the tagline of the podcast. For us non-whites.
The show for us non-whites. Yeah, it's back. There was a bit of controversy that we're not going to tackle because we don't know shit. So we're not going to talk about anything about the writer and what's going on with the firing and hiring, whatever.
Showrunner.
I don't even
Yeah.
think we need to speculate. Really, was he he wrote most of the first season though, right?
Right, but well, I mean, no, because it's a writer's room to my knowledge. So sure, he
I don't know.
helped shepherd
It's like him and one other person are the only people that have their names on the writing credits.
It's also a matter of guild rules that even if you,
I mean,
it depends on the percentage
yeah.
you wrote. So
Fair enough. The main face of the writing.
I'm not belittling his thing. Saying showrunners are very high.
No, I'm not. And no, you're right. I'm saying I'm trying to backtrack and say I apologize to anybody that we may have I have may glossed over in just saying that he was the main writer. He at least represents the writers in as far as the credits are concerned. I don't know the names of anybody else in the writers' room. So either way, we're not even talking about any of you people. We're talking about the show and maybe some criticisms of you're writing for the show.
At the time of recording, we know nothing. We know nothing. All we know is he's not there anymore. That's it.
Exactly. And we'll leave it at that. So we're going to get into it. We're going to start off with episode 1. Just kind of a quick recap. I got some notes that I stole from Wikipedia. So if anything is wrong, it's because you jackasses went to Wikipedia and screwed it up. So it's on you.
I'll stop.
Our first episode starts. We'll start off with I think it's Professor Xavier. Starts off. I think he's essentially dead, right?
Incorrect. The episode starts off with the New York skyline and the Twin Towers. That is how the episode starts off. I was not prepared for that at all.
Hey, how could you not be prepared? They tell you never forget, Pat, and you wouldn't forgot. That was your own damn fault.
I didn't forget. I wasn't prepared for the return. Okay, was not there. Like, whoa. Let what? So,
if only they had released this on Easter, you can be like, the towers have risen.
Oh God,
they're back. Whatever. I wasn't the only one thinking it. You guys are all assholes. Anyway.
I like
so Skylines are back. Xavier's gone. See, we can't have both in the same universe. You can't have an Xavier and you can't have the Twin Towers. You got to get rid of one of them. They got rid of Xavier. I think it was a good choice.
It's an odd bit of alchemy you're placing there. Like, oh no, they can't exist in the same world. They have to take either one or two has to come down. We can't have both.
Do they exist in the same world?
I mean, in this,
I didn't make the rules.
They do. I don't know what you're. I mean.
Do they? Is there a picture? Is there a picture of the Twin Towers?
Yeah, is there a picture? I've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Well, this is Exiles, so technically speaking, it's probably in a couple of them. These are Exiles right here. So
I feel like you're guessing a lot of this.
Salesman.
No, like legit. That's Exiles run.
And there's a picture of the Twin Towers, and he's in that comic
in
front of the Twin Towers.
No, because he pulled them down.
Gotcha.
Steel doesn't melt at that temperature, but telekinesis works at it.
Which there's a weird bit of stuff like watching other people talk about like things like, oh yeah, he had telekinesis. He never had telekinesis.
No, he did not.
He has telepathy.
No, hold on.
Other podcasts
was this part of his marketing team like texting you like, oh, by the way, he's got telekinesis.
Oh, and super strict and rock hard abs.
And even those legs don't work. Everything else does.
Overtime. You know what I'm saying?
People see the ring, they think at least somebody can stand the son of a bitch. Ladies see the ring, they know immediately you must have some cash and your cock must work.
That's working. Overtime.
He knows.
This guy.
We said all this to say that he's not in the show, ladies and gentlemen. So for those of you who spent the last 5 minutes listening to us talk about Xavier, he's not in the show. That's where they start off with.
For the three of you, where Professor X is your favorite character because you're a monster, he's not.
Yeah, you made the wrong choices in life. You know who those people are? They're Beast and his clones. Those are the only people that are like Xavier's awesome.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wait,
even Xavier's like I fucked up.
I'm not caught up on X-Men as much as I should be. Does Beast have clones of himself now too?
Oh man,
like Sinister style, where he's just like I got a bunch of them running around.
All right,
Beast has gone over. Beast makes Sinister look like a Girl Scout.
We are discussing comic books now. When we're talking about evil bad Beast, that is not the cartoon. That is the comic books.
Is this Dark Beast or is this like Hank Prime?
Nope.
Hank Prime.
Jesus. Yeah. All right. I wasn't aware that he's out there.
Dark Beast shudders.
Okay.
He's way worse than Dark Beast.
Yeah. Some people have mentioned in different Reddit threads that bringing Dark Beast back would actually help reset some of what Beast is currently doing, his timeline. Like bring the Dark Beast back. He's more likable. He's justified in it. Anyway, back to Xavier being dead. Question: did he die at the end of the show? Because I should have done that.
Well,
rewatch
he
the whole
was
thing,
injured,
but I didn't.
And then the space birds came and got him, right?
Yeah, Lilandra and the Shi'ar took him off into space, and so I believe that the X-Men let it appear that he passed away in essence so that no one would think that he's still alive, so that his death had more resonance to the world at large. But Scott, I think Scott
all
and
intents
them
purposes, he's
know.
dead.
Yes, and all intents and purposes, he's dead because he wasn't even like, "Oh, I'm going away. Like I'll be right back, guys." Like he was unconscious and out of it when they took his body so that they could try and heal him because he was still alive, comatose. I guess. Why am I having a hard time saying words? But
And now
Yeah.
he's hooking up with bird people.
yeah, watch out! You don't get that. Don't get the bird flu though. That's bad. It's very bad.
Oh,
been a couple cases.
Is that
We know to
how we
point
got? Is that how we got COVID when he came back? He's like, "Oh, here's COVID."
I'm
Bird flu.
100% willing to say blame COVID on Professor X. I'm fine with that.
That's fair.
I think his middle name was Wuhan. Xavier Wuhan. Or Charles Wuhan Xavier.
Damn.
So we got beyond that, we have Jean Grey is pregnant, which is kind of a shocker, I guess, for some people. Because again, at the end of the show, there was no indication that she'd be pregnant. So I guess there's some time that's passed since his spaceship flight home.
I think they said about a year, right?
The show. Is it okay?
It's
I mean, she's pretty pregnant, so it's got to be at least 9 months.
Yeah, because it's been some time, but that also leads to like, was Magneto just chilling, waiting to come back? Because we jumping to the end of the episode here a bit, but Magneto comes back and he's like, "Guess what, guys? This is I'm gonna drop this bomb on you, this discussion bomb." And like, wait, so were you just outside chilling for a while? Like, where did
Where did Magneto end up at the end of the show?
I have no idea. I just knew the last bit because of like other clip shows I've watched.
His tailor took a long time making the new outfit, and he was.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Oh,
well, because I know there's a comic reference to it, and I didn't know if Ken had some knowledge on that comic reference to this.
Yeah, in the comics, yeah, he does wear that suit, and yeah,
right, and that's a suit from the 80s.
Yeah, it's a Claremont.
Right?
It's the New Mutant suit and the Trial of Magneto.
Pat, give me a description of this suit.
Imagine, if you will, a big purple jumpsuit with a giant M on it, no arms, and a cape. That's it. That's a suit. That's I described for.
No. Because it's not just no arms. Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
It's gonna say it's no sleeves, but then he has like what, bicep long,
elbow high
gloves.
Yeah,
he has opera gloves, but also one thing that they did like either tame down for this version is in the comic version you'll get some side boob in there depending on the artist. Like he's just like, hey, there you go, sun's out, guns out, and then he has the guns under purple sleeves.
You know what they didn't tame was that hair.
No.
Oh no, yeah.
Hair is wow.
I think all of their animation budget went to his hair. I think they essentially took Rogue's old hair and put it on top of his.
So this is, you'll know the budget's cut like with Storm in season 5, where he has to put his hair up in a ponytail, and that's how you know the budget got cut.
Or maybe they just started cutting it already and shaved off sides of her hair and gave it to him. We only have limited amounts of white space.
The most expensive space.
So we got Magneto at the end of the show takes over the X-Men, but in between that, we get our first introduction of what's his name?
Roberto da Costa.
Who I guess we find out, or for those of you who read the comics, Sunspot. He gets captured by the Friends of Humanity. Is Jubilee with him at the time?
No. So
Scott shows up, right?
Yeah, we start outside of the skate park that's been like the sign's falling apart, so it says hate park or whatever. But I want to mention, because Ebony caught it real quick in some of the ads and stuff, like you see a paper flutter by, and it's like got like a tabloid style, it's got a bunch of stuff. One of the things there was talking about, it mentions like Benetton's World of Color, but it says like World of Color, like an ad. Back in the day, Benetton was one of the first fashion things to start to implement more racially diverse models. And so like, and Ebony remembered that she's like, oh, that's a really good nod that like they did. Like at the time, Benetton was trying to push and go for a little more of an inclusive vibe, at least for their models, so they can get more money from you. Like it's not altruistic, but at least they were doing that. And it's nice that they flipped that in the timeline to be like, oh, hey, they would have done this too. Like, so it's kind of a cool idea that they nodded to that.
Yeah. No, it's pretty. I mean, there are a lot of. I pointed out some Easter eggs in one of the recaps that we have. We'll go over some of those in a second. But yeah, the Friends of Humanity kidnap him, bring him into a warehouse where they've outfitted some Sentinel tech. They have like repulsors on their arm. They have a giant hand that they're messing around with. And that is when Cyclops shows up. Cyclops and I believe it's Jean and Bishop.
No, it's a Storm and Bishop.
Storm Bishop, sorry, yes, Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jean.
And it all should be noted, they have the Genosian anti-mutant power collars, which is important.
Yeah.
For later.
Correct. Yes, they have those. And so this is where I think I don't know if I even text Pat about this because he is our resident Cyclops fanboy. But in literally the first 2.5 minutes of the show, they've totally redeemed Cyclops with his I would say laser beam skate dancing.
I mean, they take him down a peg or two in episode 3, so they needed to bolster him up now to be like, don't you remember?
Geez, did they do a number on him?
You're gonna love, like you love Cyclops. You didn't remember how good he was, and you're kind of like, he was never this good in the old cartoon, but that's fine. That's fine. That's it's interesting because
you take the good, you take the bad.
Yeah, the animation style, as much as like it's improved versus the previous iteration, which I don't mean to cast too many stones because it's dated, but it's part of the dating. But like this one is a step up, but there's definitely times where it's just like it's kind of like web series flash animation, and then there's times where like, oh no, that's where all of our budget was saved, and here's where we spent all of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where Cyclops fights, and then this is the part where these two people sit and talk, and really all their moves is their mouth. Like they're not even moving their head, just their mouth. I mean,
which is a nod to the latest. Oh, go ahead. Say it's a nod to the latest Invincible episode for those of you. If we're going to do any like footnoting, go watch. I don't know
if it's a nod to
it. It's a nod to the original series.
Well, it's a nod to the original series, but if again it's a footnote, go watch the latest episode of Invincible, and it'll kind of explain what Ken's whole point is, which is pretty interesting about animation, where they choose to, like you said, spend the budget, and where they kind of cut corners.
Yeah.
Sorry, animation takes a long time.
Oh, I can't imagine how much work it must be for those fight scenes.
Yeah, those take a while, but we cut corners in other places to make it manageable. You ever notice that sometimes whoever's speaking has their mouth off camera so you never see their lips moving?
Huh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, or we'll cut to the back of someone's head while they're talking for the same reason. Other times we'll do a wide shot and slowly pan across it. It looks like it's animated, but it's so far away, you don't notice. Nothing's moving. The best part is, because all these scenes have limited animation, we can make the drawings even better. But sometimes the artists get carried away and it kind of looks like a different show. It's crazy what you can get away with. Thanks for coming by.
Good.
So, well, I was just going to say, like, there is a long-running internet meme that all X-Men stories, it's like a list of 4 or 5 topics that are X-Men stories, and the top one is Scott Summers has a bad day. So a lot of stories are about like Cyclops just not having a good time. When we get to episode 3, that's pretty much it.
Well, we'll stick with the first one for right now. We'll get to the third one in a second. But yeah, he's having a great day in this first one, and they actually do a nod to the first episode where he uses his knot line, right, from Night of the Sentinels or whatever, the Jubilee episode.
Yeah. Or I think that is the second episode, or maybe it's a 2-parter. I'm trying to remember.
It's a 2-parter. It's Night of the Sentinels 1 and 2.
Yeah. So in the second episode, when the Sentinel comes back for him, he's like, "Halt, mutant." He's like, "Certainly not."
Yeah, he's able to say that again this time, and it was actually pretty done. I thought even better than that first one, because the Friends of Humanity take off his visor, which apparently they don't do any of their own research. They've been too busy messing around with robot hands. They're like the Boston Dynamics guys. They take off his visor, and Cyclops pretends to cower and be afraid or whatnot, and so I think the guys think they have him for some reason. Even though I don't think they understood that the visor was the protective shield from Cyclops.
Yeah.
So then he uses the knot line and basically blasts the entire room, which is pretty cool. And then I think we get shifted to the next morning now, is it?
Hands on Sentinel technology.
What, you freak shows think we wouldn't find a way to evolve too? Take his visor before he starts up again.
No, don't! I surrender! Not.
Ish. There's a little bit of because they. I'm trying to remember. I remember fighting with the like Bishop does a little bit of fighting because they shoot him, he shoots back. He blasts out the room, and they end up taking Robert back to Xavier.
I think the next we see is Cyclops call with Valerie Cooper. Ooh,
does he?
Although, do they call her Valco or do they call her Valerie? They call her Cooper.
Dr. Cooper.
Dr. Cooper. Okay, yeah. So it's Valerie Cooper. Like me and you are both like, oh no, that's Val Cooper from X Factor. Like, yeah. And so it's like it's there for us, but I'm like, did we get a full name check? I'm very curious.
I think they said Valerie at one point, but I could have just.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was a blonde on a science screen, and I'm like, and they said Cooper, so I'm like, that's Valerie Cooper.
That's Valerie Cooper. Yeah.
You're doing like, maybe we'll acknowledge his brother like we didn't last time because that's ridiculous.
And then Gambit is making beignets in the kitchen. Very, very hard, crunchy beignets, which is weird. Like that's not how beignets. Like,
I have so many thoughts about that too. Like it's very much like the Sims animation of just like you stack the beignets on plates of beignets and you move them around and then like it's legit like the Sims. Like they would set them down like I'm like, you don't stack food on top of other food like that. That's not.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, are any of you a New Orleans chef?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I didn't think so. Didn't think so.
5 years, mon ami.
5 years. Was there any powdered sugar? No.
Did he say they were done? No.
He served them. He served
like
them.
They were.
He put them on a plate.
And you're supposed to shake a fine
when they
dusting
cool. Do you want to? You're gonna have a bunch of melted sugars. What you're gonna have? You want it powder.
Okay? No, it doesn't. Wait. That's not.
You let them cool a second.
You
don't take them right out of the fry.
Works.
It's gonna melt.
Ice. Give me them ice cold beignets. They're finally ready for the powdered sugar.
I didn't say they had to be ice cold, but I didn't think you needed to wait a second.
All I know is
you put them right in the paper bag and you shake the bag and they get covered with powdered sugar.
And he clearly overfried him because when Wolverine did into one, it looked like he was eating hardtack.
Yeah,
like,
maybe he just didn't like Wolverine.
That's fair. Yeah, they get into it later on where he's like,
gums and tongue will heal. Fuck off. Anyway, he gets.
That's a good point.
He has a discussion with Scott. Scott's being a wet towel as usual. Jean comes in, and this is what gets me. Was Gambit about to blow up Scott's face? Because he threw something at him that was charged, and then Jean stopped it, and it was not just like a Jubilee type firework explosion. This thing went off and had to be exploded out the window. Like what the hell was? Did he know she was there? Like what was the plan there, Gambit?
It's called a coup d'état. He's trying to take over the X-Men.
Yeah. Okay,
he's trying to get.
Fair enough.
Wait.
He's very sly about it, and everyone brushed it off as kind of like, that's just Gambit. I'm like, that was an attempted assassination.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising.
Cyclops is so good, though. He would have found a way to get out of it, I guess, was the thought process.
What is he, Batman?
He wishes.
On good days, he's like half a Batman.
I think he's more than a Batman. Fuck Batman. Anyway, so we.
What are you, Dick Grayson? All of a sudden from Titans? Like what's that all about?
Dick Grayson, Red Hood. Anybody who doesn't like Batman.
Fair enough.
His son.
So are we then shifted to the Danger Room right now that Jubilee's kind of giving the new guy the kind of once over of the university?
Interesting. The Roberto da Costa Jubilee hookup party that we're getting here.
I mean, I like it that they're bringing a new they're to a certain degree they're repeating the original series. They're like, here's a young mutant who's discovering their powers and we're rescuing them. So I appreciate that. I mean, they blatantly spell it out in episode 2, I think.
But are they repeating? Because I feel like this is just what they do, though. It's not like.
Well, no. I mean, I think
this shows up.
Are they what?
It's a beat. It's a bit of a beat by beat, beat by beat.
Okay.
Copy of the original episode outside of the And then one of the X-Men is quote unquote murdered.
This one's for you, Morph. And then Morph's just like wandering about making jokes like he does. Like it's interesting that they also brought him back. Like he wasn't a big part in the first series. Like he was a little bit of like fridging happened to him just so they could have that story and have Wolverine be upset about something. But like they definitely, people love Morph, and Morph has a great storyline in the Exiles. And so I really appreciate them bringing in Morph and getting the moment to kind of like.
I think Morph was I think he was your go-to though. If you're a writer trying to truncate 30 years of X-Men stories, 20 years of X-Men stories, because he's your Deadpool cameo guy. Like he's what pulls all the faces that people want to see without actually having to do any work for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's the cameo machine. That's 1,000% his role is just there to be like what? Oh, they brought in Lady Deathstrike. That's Colossus. Oh, they brought in this character. Oh my god.
And what I meant by Deadpool is that if they ever decide to, because it looks like they're sifting in stuff from the MCU, like the live action stuff, into the show, like the news report or whatever is the same one that's being shown in the movies. Like whenever the reporters are talking about what's happening in Mutantdom or what's happening in the world of the mutants, it's the same news network that they use in the actual MCU, like that broke the story about Spider-Man's identity, and whenever they refer to like these incidences in the MCU, that news channel and I have it here somewhere, whatever it is, that's in the MCU. So like they could potentially say like, hey, we introduced this character in the cartoon. Like you've seen what Psylocke looks like, you know what Lady Deathstrike looks like, or Blob or whatever. So when they show up in the movie, if and when they do show up, you can say like, there's a reference for them now.
Well, and didn't they also didn't they come out and say what cartoons are connected to the original X-Men animated series? And they come out like Spider-Man is connected. I don't
know if they said that, but like I said, there were Easter eggs that show that they're connected. I don't know if Marvel said
yeah, they're like that. And it was unofficial. So back in the day when they had Spider-Man, so they showed, I remember them showing him his hand in an X-Men episode, and it's a little bit funky because it's like they were both like you see him like shoot some webs, and that's kind of it. Because like a tragedy is happening in New York. And then you have a full, like in the Spider-Man stuff, they have much more connectivity because they have a whole issue where they a whole episode where they cross over, and then they have a Secret Wars storyline where they cross over. Storm, I believe, is the one that's taking over to the Spider-Man animated series, but they're not necessarily like one-to-one. Like if you go to, I bet if you looked up like the Marvel Wikia page, it'll probably be like, that's 612 0 and that one's 6121. Like they're just one-offs just for people to try and keep it logical in their head. But I mean, I think those two are the only two that are deeply connected. I don't know if they connect because in production time, those two shows did run in a similar and produced in a similar timeline. The Iron Man series was around the same era as well, because I remember the Toy Biz toys. But I don't know if they carried over. Like the reason why I say the Spider-Man one does work because they actually have some of the actors carry over the roles. Like they had the Rogue actress, they had the Gambit actress on Spider-Man, they had the Storm actress on one of the Storm actresses on there. So like that's where you get like a lot more like, oh, there's more thread to this connection. Whereas with the Iron Man one, I don't know if they did that, and the Hulk one too. I don't think Hulk was in. They were produced at the same time, but I don't think it was out there.
No, I think it was Fantastic Four. They debuted the same time as Iron Man in that iteration. So.
All right, so we get Jubilee showing around the new guy. He gets put into the danger room for some apparent reason. Don't know why. And he's left to believe that it's not real. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, well, it's because again, we're not doing 1-to-1, but we're definitely like nodding to the original episode where it's like Wolverine's fighting Gambit, and he's about to act like he's gonna cut him, and she's like, no, get off him, and she shoots Wolverine off of Gambit in the original. So it's like it's kind of being that similar thing of like you're really in danger this time, but she's not gonna shoot Wolverine off because it's part of the bit.
Well,
Oh, that's right, because they're trying to get him to use his powers. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also because even with Charles Xavier gone, putting young children in dangerous situations, life or death situations, is still part of being at that school. Even with Charles gone, we gotta honor his memory.
I think that's in the charter for the school, isn't it? Like endangering
Yes.
children is helping young minds
That's
develop.
what we
and then
do.
feeding them with suspense.
Teach, nurture, murder, I believe, is the 3-pronged.
There we go. Yeah.
And Roberto doesn't do it. He even with blades to his neck, I believe, he still doesn't use his powers.
Yeah.
The next scene we have is what follows that. Is it Is it when they go to the prison to talk to Trask,
Guyrich.
right? Or
Guyrich? I never say his name right.
Oh, that's Henry Gyrick.
Yeah,
Henry Gyrick about the Sentinel Hand and how the Friends of Humanity got that technology. He gives a pretty interesting speech about basically replacement theory.
Think we'd roll over and let mutants take over the planet, that we wouldn't fight back.
Yet your cruelty has only made humanity more sympathetic to our cause.
Oh, did it? No, you're in vogue, Storm. A fad. Look at my mutant friend. But under all that fashionable sympathy, normal people know the more room we make for your kind, the less we leave for ours. So we might wear tolerance on our sleeves, but we know the naked truth. Tolerance is extinction.
Yeah.
He goes into how I forget what was his ending line. What was his acceptances or tolerances is
Tolerance is
like
extinction, I believe.
Extinction, yeah.
Because Magneto kind of mirrors it on the other side in episode 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they deal with him. I forget the next scene is after that. Is that the Sentinel Desert one? Because he tells them where it's at, where they figure it out, like the master mold.
I mean, let's note that like during the mind probe, Jean sees darkness and she's affected by some stuff. Like it's not really paid off. But
Yeah, that was really weird. Like apparently his mind's powerful. Genius. I said
nope, not his mind.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, it's not his mind that is housing the darkness.
It's a witch mind. It's a what kind of mind? Come on, you can say it. All right.
It's a
sinister mind. Come on, guys. Easy setup.
Wait, is that what she was going into?
Yeah.
I'm very confused now.
No, I think that some of the seams of the clone. I mean, spoilers for where this version of Jean Grey is a clone. Spoilers. You guys are.
Damn it, we're not there yet.
I don't care. I've got to get there. So some of the seams that are coming apart with her mind copy transition is that's I think that's part of it is by her expressing her powers too much.
Right.
It started to push at the edges of her abilities, and that started to open up some of the.
I just wanted to know how powerful is his mind, though, because again, I was about to say I sent Pat a tweet about how weak Jean is, and someone did this. They put a compilation together of Jean Grey's like fight sequences and times she's gotten in trouble, whatever, in the original show. 5 minutes where
passing out,
like fainting, passing out, gets shot, knocked off of things. And so I was wondering, like, what's up?
There's two different like compilations like that. There's the Scott Summers Says Jean compilation, and there's the
that was much longer.
Jean Grey has orgasm pass outs, where she's like,
no, this one is just like Jean Grey sucks, and she sucks at everything.
Continual training is crucial.
Guards! Restrain her! Professor, we need you. We've been capped.
Jean, where are you? Jean.
Juggernaut, mine is the only voice you hear.
Get away! Stop it! I can't stand it! Stop it! Jean! No!
Jean! You all right, hon? Just bruised. Thanks to you.
I mean,
and so
yeah.
at least from that show. And I was wondering again for this guy to TV stress the clone's mind, like how tough was it? Is I'm trying to get to what kind of thoughts were like, oh my god, this is more than I can handle.
She's having a child. How dare you?
Yeah.
She should be thinking for two.
Month, how dare you?
I very much took it as it was the Nate Summers in there messing around, and then in hindsight, sinister stuff like triggering because of what's going on, because she's pregnant and she doesn't have full control.
Okay. Nevertheless, they find out that there's a master mold, and they go to the desert to fight him.
The desert. Just the desert. There's
The
no
Middle Eastern desert, maybe.
Middle Eastern? Who knows? It's just
Or
the desert. Like,
Oh, we get the cool scene though of them flying to said random desert, and they're playing getting hijacked by Sentinels. And this is where they once again redeem Scott even further by allowing him to survive a plane crash with just his eye beams, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Hypothetically, that's also how he survived it the first time, when his father pushed him and Alex out of the airplane. I mean, spoilers for
Is that how he did it?
That's been used before, like in some iterations.
I thought the plane crash was the triggering of his powers, wasn't it? Wasn't it the head?
Right, and
trauma?
So some of that trauma was from the him being pushed out started to activate his powers, but how he was they were able to survive was that as well in at least one iteration that I can't cite right now. Go ahead, if you guys know it, go ahead and drop it in the comments, please and thank you.
You sure it wasn't just tears, lots and lots of tears? His dad abandoned him.
I mean,
abandoned.
He created a little ocean on the right where they fell.
It's just him, and he's like, I have to take care of Alex now. Oh no.
No, Alex sucks. He's got a pain thing and a
he's gonna grow up to be a himbo. I have no control of that.
Himbo Summers.
I wanted to be Himbo Summers.
Then we're gonna have some kind of weird brother named X-Man, or what was his name?
Nope, that's a no. As
Adam X. Sorry,
Adam X
there we
is
go.
not. Yeah, technically not. And X-Man is his alternate reality son.
Yes, Adam X the Extreme is his maybe half brother, depending on the.
Who's the other guy that would?
I need to finish that story.
Was the other brother that died?
There's
There we go.
Vulcan who
Vulcan.
didn't. Okay, yeah.
Well, he said to have been dead or captured, taken away.
Yeah,
Disappeared, unalived.
I don't know where Vulcan is. Current. Actually, Pat's probably got a better idea where he
Vulcan's
is
around.
currently.
He's in space.
He's just. There's a lot of X-Men to keep track of, man.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
They're not X-Men. They're just Summers. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Hey, man, is there though? Is there?
Either way,
that's what I thought.
Vulcan didn't get the retirement package. He didn't get the gold watch. He didn't get the nice send off. He just disappeared in space.
He just got to
Xavier.
rule Shi'ar Empire.
It's true.
No thanks to
It's very
Xavier. Xavier thought his ass was dead. Didn't even
Sorry,
go to a funeral.
Vulcan's his own man.
No, yeah, he just mind wiped the rest of the crew and said, "Let's start over again."
One
That
more
went so well the
time.
first time. But in the desert, we get a bunch of sentinels protecting a master mold thing or whatnot. But we do get the Omega level mutant thing. I don't know if that's ever been set in the cartoon in the original. Was it?
I don't
Is that even a thing?
think so.
I don't think in the original cartoon it was. I know that it's something that's been in the comics for a while, but
And by a while, like the Claremont never established an Omega level mutant, right? That was something that was later done.
I don't genuinely know.
Because
I
I don't think mutant levels were like
early mid 90s is when they would have
Okay.
discussed it at the
All right.
latest. But I actually don't know.
So I feel like it came out after the show, where like they started leveling.
No, it came out in 1986. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
So Claremont.
2002.
So what is clever? Okay, I'm mistaken. Spoke. So yeah, I guess. So we get the introduction of her, which I thought Cyclops was one, but I guess not.
Nope.
No,
he is not.
Okay. Magneto. And
The
her,
only Omega level mutants on the X-Men on this X-Men team would be, I think, Storm and Jean Grey.
Jean, right? Okay.
On this iteration, yeah.
Gambit
Because they're
could've
not. They're not counting Gambit, but that's from that one ongoing that we read, but doesn't count because it's all reality. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the actual one. She shows up, does her like lightning to sand to glass, which was pretty cool. That was pretty dope.
Yeah. Turns into
And
a
then
glass hurricane.
yeah, and shreds them all up, drops them, captures the scientist who was running Master Mold, which was
Trask.
There you go.
There we go. And I believe they also spit throughout this episode. There's also talks of Jean and Scott leaving because she's about to have a kid. Xavier's gone. They don't seem to really trust Wolverine, so I don't know who they thought the leader was going to be if Magneto didn't step in, but it didn't seem like they cared too much about that.
Storm.
Maybe they can leave it in Storm's hands. Who knows? Yeah, Storm. Okay, that makes more. She's probably more capable.
It's thought that I think most people have kind of said the discussion of leaving has been it's Jean Grey's push, or Jean Doe. It was her push because it's part of that programming. She wanted to get away from the X-Men with the baby as part of the programming by Sinister.
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever reason it was, at least on the surface, if you're just watching episode 1 as is, it's because things have now changed dramatically. Like again, they're about to have a kid. They kind of want to get out of the life. They, hey, we're 7 days to retirement kind of situation. So they're planning on leaving. But I said all this to say that they foreshadow what's going to happen in episode 2 with Storm, because Storm starts talking about what it's like to live a normal life. That's kind of what she's hoping for the two of them after they leave here. And so she unfortunately gets that wish. And I think they end the episode with Magneto showing up and kind of rubbing it in all their faces.
And by the way, only Charles Xavier would have his will case bound in a 200-page book. Like, Charles, what are we doing? That's a 12-page document. Why? What did you put in there that it's got to be a book for the will?
The rest of those are just love letters to Magneto.
Yes.
Or songs he wrote for him. Like, I was thinking that too.
Only Xavier is the only one who wouldn't tell anybody else about this plan. Not prepare any of his fucking students for, hey, not only do I not trust you guys, but I'm gonna put our arch nemesis in charge of you.
No, he sees
the man that was tasked with killing you.
I just thought about this. Is it because he didn't think he was gonna die? Like, because he's not technically dead? Like, is there an alternate?
The worst goof ever. This isn't really a good punk.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that hypothetically, he's like he probably has some Shi'ar detector thing in the mansion that says, if I die, then activate this and do this and tell them all what's going on. But since he didn't technically die and they beamed his ass out to Shi'ar space, it's like, I don't have to do that protocol. Nope. No death protocol.
You could have at
no
least
death protocol.
At it to some of them, like,
yeah,
hey, after they fight Magneto and he's like gone and he's like leaving, going to Ashford M, they can be like, man, that was tough. Imagine if that guy was a good guy. You think he could lead the X-Men?
It kind of comes across like
dumb. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty stupid.
And then he's just like, mind wipe, you mother.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to that later. It kind of comes across like when they were together, he made the will and just never changed it.
That's fair.
Okay,
I mean, never updated
again.
it.
I just feel like you got at least one of your students, any of your students, one of them. Like,
hey, man, you got to call a lawyer.
In the event of my untimely demise, who would you guys like to lead the X-Men? Just ask that question. Jesus.
I've got another odd thought that don't want to give him credit for. What if he has a subconscious implant in Jean Grey, and so she didn't
a trigger?
A trigger, but since she was cloned and not there, never went off. She's the one most likely to be from enough. Day one. She's first class,
Yeah.
And which also brings me a question, because they do show a picture. Sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, that actually he could have those implanted in all of the first class X-Men, but because he didn't technically die, and they know that, it never went off. He's like, if I die, you guys will all remember that I have a will and it's over here. But until I die, it won't go off. And they're like, well, we know we all got beamed up there, so it's not going to go off. We know he didn't die.
What if like Charles Xavier's lawyer has spent the last year just trying to locate Magneto to let him know that he is the heir to everything, and finally found him at the seamstress as he was finishing his new costume?
That all works. Or maybe the only person he told was Iceman, and Iceman is nowhere to be found.
Yep. An Angel.
I was gonna say.
I mean, well,
Okay.
yeah. Which is like weird because it's like I know we saw Iceman at one point. That's when they thought X Factor, and then Angel had an episode 2 because he got turned blue and lost his wings. So like, there's that. He's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they have that picture, that they reference that picture several times throughout this episode and the next episode of like the original team. And I'm like, no one's gonna question why the other two people aren't around.
Well, I guess because there is a time, like we've had time since the death. So I mean, there could have been a memorial that they all attended, but they had like these are the only people who stuck around after. I don't know. There's definitely questions with this time jump.
All right, well, that's the end of our first episode with Magneto kind of smirking and laughing and saying, "To me, my X-Men, rub it in their faces."
X-Men, and I own this house, I own this chair, I own this picture, and I own all of you.
This is
basically
this is Armin's room, and that's
it.
Armin's copy of Swank.
By the way, Toad and everybody else is taking your bedrooms. They get the pick of the litter. The Brotherhood, they get all the nice rooms.
And at this point, the Brotherhood is
All we got. Execution of collaborative plots ready to bring the separation of style to a stop. It's going down. A logical progression on the timeline. The separation narrowed down to a fine line.